And everybody can hear the siren in the background. Yeah, so welcome to Art 196 Web Design. I'm recording this lecture, so for those of you who can't attend the live webinar, it will be available shortly thereafter on YouTube. You can go there to my website right here. When you go on First Classes, right here, and you go to video tutorials, you should see a little playlist that says Art 196 Web Design Fall 2020. And so that's where you'll find it. But really what I want to focus on at the moment is make sure that everybody knows how to be in touch with me and where to turn in projects and how to turn them in the way I want them, and then we'll be good to go. So what I'm going to do first is show you that I need everybody to email me if you haven't already done so. And it looks like someone already has. That's pretty good, Natalie. So I want all of you to email me at kirkmillerart@gmail.com. That's kirkmillerart@gmail.com. And what I'm going to do is when I receive your email, and I'll do this for Natalie, I'll do that right now, is that what I'm going to do is that you should, if you've never used Google Drive before, when you have a Gmail account, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little button up here on the right for Google Apps, and you click right here, and you'll select over here to the left, Google Drive. And I have mine open right here. And you'll see that I have a whole bunch of these from past semesters. The one that we will pay attention to is this folder down here. It's Art 196. And if I double click on that, you can see that a couple of people, A. Villafana has already signed up. You can see that I have a folder for myself and that I have the lessons from the Dreamweaver 2017 textbook. And I need to talk about that too, why I'm using 2017 and not 2020. So to add you to this list so that you can submit your work on Google Drive or email it to me. And much of what you do will be emailed to me, not submitted on Google Drive. But to get access to this, I'm going to go back here and I'll show you. I'm going to open up Natalie's. And when I hover over that, I'm going to right click on here and I'm going to copy her email address. And now I can go back to Google Drive and I'm going to go back in here. Let's go back to my drive. And then I right click on the folder and then I'm going to select share. So I'm going to share this folder with you. When I click here, I go ahead and I paste and I hit the return key and now I can send it. So now Natalie's been invited. So all you have to do is accept. And then when you're done, what I want you to do is when you go into the drive, just right click and create a new folder. And then go ahead and name it. And as you can see, the way I named mine, I used the first initial of my first name, lowercase, and then my last name. So I know whose folder it is. And then you're going to dump all of your stuff into, when we turn in certain assignments, you'll dump them into that folder. And to do that is quite easy. When you open it in Google Drive, for example, I have a JPEG on my desktop. So wherever you save your files, you simply click and drag it on top of that folder and release. And when I double click, you can see I now have that little rustic landscape JPEG in my folder. So you can do that with any files. It can be Photoshop files, Illustrator files, you name it, Dreamweaver files, okie doke. And then when I go back here, or if I go back again, if I want to get rid of that, I just right click on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and select remove it so I don't have it there anymore. So that's what I absolutely need you guys to do today. Okay. Do any of you have any questions about that? None right now? Okay, that's good. So let's get out of there and let's go back to my website for a minute. So we're going to go back here for a minute. So the software that you'll need, the principal software for our class is Dreamweaver. So if you go to Kirk's classes and you go to either handouts or weekly syllabi, let's go to weekly syllabi, and you go to the left, you can either get a 7-day trial version by clicking on Adobe, or if you want to buy, and this is what I highly recommend, a 6-month subscription or perhaps a 1-year subscription to Adobe, then you would go to collegebuys.org. So I'll go ahead and I'll click on that link and it will take us there. And you'll see that it says, you know, are you shopping for students, faculty, or colleges? If I click here for students, it's going to ask, what state am I located in? Well, I'm in California, and I'll go ahead and I'll click and I'll submit. And then this is all that, you know, you can buy laptops, you can buy Microsoft Office, all kinds of stuff from this at a highly discounted price. What we're interested in is making it in the Creative Cloud. So this is Adobe's discounted price through collegebuys.org. And when I click on it, it's going to give me 2 options. Do I want to buy, they say a semester license, but it's actually 6 months. So that will take us beyond the end of the semester. That's for $40. So if you don't have it yet, I highly recommend it. And not only will you have Dreamweaver, but you'll have access to Illustrator and Photoshop. And we will be using Photoshop on this Thursday. If you don't have Photoshop or you don't want to use Photoshop, if you have any digital editing program, that will be fine to be able to save your images in JPEG, GIF, or PNG format. If you do plan on using any of the Adobe suite in the spring, then at Cerritos, then I highly recommend that you sign up for the 12-month license. Okay, there really isn't a significant difference. So if you decide in 6 months, yeah, I better go ahead and sign up for another 6 months, or now I'll sign up for a year, you're not going to be losing any money. So that's the way I would go. So that's the software that you'll need. Okay. You know what I did? Yeah, I did. I started recording. So I almost thought maybe I forgot recording. Okay, so we're good to go. Turn that off. We're going to go back to here. Okie doke. So we have all kinds of web tools to the left that I will talk about throughout the semester. Later, when you begin publishing your own websites, you will be using, unless you already have a service provider or a host for your website, we will be using the free web host, free service of 000webhost.com. So that's an important one to remember. Okay. In addition to that, while we are doing lessons from the textbook, and I'll talk about the textbook in just a minute, but when we're doing lessons from the textbook, we will be working on other websites as well. And the one that I want you to start with will be at Wix. Now, Wix provides, you can use them and buy them, subscribe to them as your host, but they also offer it as a free service. And I want all of you, while we're learning HTML and CSS using Dreamweaver, I want you to have the experience of developing a website online. And Wix will provide that for us. So you don't need to worry about that this week, but next week I'll probably have you create a Wix account and begin creating your first website using Wix while we're doing the lessons in Dreamweaver. In addition to that, after we've worked on our Wix website, then we're going to use another offline website or web builder called MobiRise. It's a very easy drag and drop application that is available for free. So if you click on this link here, same with Wix, but if I click on this link, it will take you to MobiRise. And you can download it for Mac or the PC, and you can get their free version. And that's what we're going to do. I also have a little bit more robust version that I purchased for about a little over $100. So if you find that you really enjoy it and you think it's the way to go to design your websites in the future, then that's something that I would recommend. Okay? So we will be using MobiRise. And because this is offline, you're designing it and building it offline, you'll need to use a host, a web host like 000 web host to upload those files and to publish them. Okay. Now, in addition to that, MobiRise also provides a free slide builder program called Wow Slider, and we will be using that in conjunction with Dreamweaver. And I've used that on my website. So if you were to go to my homepage or you go to Kirk's classes, this slideshow that I've used right here was created using the Wow Slider. Now, if you buy Wow Slider, then you get to remove their little logo in the lower right-hand corner. And I think the free version is just hunky-dory. It's just fine. So this is the one that I've created, and it's one that later in the semester that you will use to create your slideshow. And there are others that are available as well. But this one I found for free works really, really nicely. Okay. So I'm going to go back. So again, some very useful links that I have over here. In addition to that, you should, if you haven't already, get your library card and sign up for lynda.com so that they have a ton of tutorials that if you get lost on HTML or CSS and the explanations that I provide are not adequate and the textbook is a little confusing, then they have some wonderful tutorials on that. So about the textbook, and I'll explain why. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. If you're wondering why I'm using the 2017 version of Adobe Classroom in a book, it's not because I'm lazy. It is because it was the last version that they created that provided tutorials to create a responsive website. And that really is the direction that websites have gone for quite a while now. If you're wondering, what do I mean by responsive? It means that when you design your website, that it will detect what kind of screen it's being displayed on, and it will behave differently depending on whether it's on a large screen on your laptop or whether it's on a touchpad or like an iPad or on your phone. And if any of you have looked at my website on either one of those devices, it adapts nicely to all of them. So as we're looking at one of my pages here, this is my This Week in Class in Adobe Dreamweaver. And as you can see, if I click on here, this is typically what you see. Now let me go ahead and drag this over. Come on. There we go. Moving that over, having troubles here. So, you know, when I slide this bar across, you can see this is what my website looks like. You know, when it's, let's look at the index page. You know, when you see it on a laptop or a fairly large screen. But as I slide this over, and I guess that would be better to go back to the handouts page or the, let's see. Yeah, let's just look at the handouts page. That's fine. Okay, or this week in class, that'll work this as well back there. So when we're looking at that page in Dreamweaver, before we even publish it, as I push this to the left, watch how the page reconfigures. And as I gradually move it over all the way, notice how I get the little tab at the top now. So this is what you have when we were looking at it online. And similarly, what we have here, if I look at, here's the About Us page. This is one of the final pages that we'll be designing in the textbook. And this is what it looks like again when it's, you see it on a large screen, but as we scroll down and we make it a little bit smaller and it's on an iPad, you'll notice that it reconfigures to fit that screen. And then when we see it on the smallest device, which would be a phone, then it reconfigures again. And you can see here that we have, our bars here that we can open up and work with. So that was why I chose to work with that last version. Since then, they have, the newest version is good too, but the problem is you need to have a background with Photoshop. And because there are no prerequisites for this class, I figured that would be a hindrance for many of you, since that would require for me to go through curriculum committee and totally redesign all of this so that you would have to take Photoshop first before you could take Dreamweaver. And for me, that's just kind of catastrophic. Anyway, a long way of saying that when we do the lessons, and we'll probably do lessons 1 through 12 in the textbook, then the final one will be to create a page or two, ideally 4 pages, but maybe a page or two based on the template that you design in Dreamweaver and then publish it. So in this class, you'll be doing 4 projects. The first one will start on Thursday, which is learning how to save images properly for the web. And then the second project we'll be doing will be the Wix website. The next one will be the MobiRise website, which is offline and is very intuitive. But as you're working on those 2 intuitive websites, we'll be doing lessons in the book. So you'll be responsible for publishing lessons 1 through 12, and we will do that in 2 stages. And then the very last project will be to create your own website based on the lessons that you've done in Dreamweaver. Does that make sense to everybody? Do any of you have any questions before I move on?
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
No? Does that make sense to everybody though? Is it pretty clear, I hope?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Not sure, because it gets confusing for me sometimes, because it's like juggling, a bunch of balls at the same time, hoping that they all, stay afloat and you don't drop any of them. So that's what we're working on there. I'm going to go ahead and pause this for just a second. I don't know where I left off. Can anybody help me? The last thing that someone wanted me to do was, there were a couple of questions that I answered. So I goofed. For those of you who were not here, I will have to repeat all of this. So after you guys have left, I will do some of this again. I'm going to publish it afterwards, and then I'm going to come back and continue to do another lecture for all of you. I know knew that would happen. So I'm continuing to share, I'm continuing to record, but hopefully I have enough information for everybody so that they know to be here and ready to work Thursday and have Photoshop available so that we can learn to save for the web. Okay. Let me go ahead and I'm going to take roll, although roll isn't absolutely necessary here. What I want to do here is I'm going to go here and let's see, Dan is here. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. And Carlos Suarez Gomez is here. Like that. And David Nowell is here. I'm going to do that. And Giselle Allman is here. So I'm going to do that. Amaro Berrigan. So we've got that. And Ivan Shaw is here. We've got that. Natalie Duenas. We've got that. And who else? Nelson Fuentes. And Stephanie Hernandez. Okay, so those are all the people who are attending today, and that's nice. So we have a good attendance. There are a number of people that aren't here that are going to wonder why I stopped recording in the middle of all of this. And that's because I goofed. So I'll just have to come back again and continue. Nobody remembers where I paused? Well, when I publish it, I will go back and track it and then I'll record again in the interim. So we'll have probably 2 of these. So
Yeah, I think you might have paused when you were showing us how to get to the Google Drive.
so that was pretty early on, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Pardon the French. Okay, well, I will record this again and I will make it available to everybody so that there won't be any glitches in here. But most of you, fortunately, are here. There are a number of people who aren't, but that's going to be a problem. And they have to have access to all of this information. So if there aren't any questions, then you guys are free to log off and to go. And I'm going to stop the recording and I will publish what I have. And then I will do this again to myself and make sure that it replaces the old one. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, well, see you Thursday.
Okay. How about it? Yeah.